Well, that's a few more folks. That's pretty nice. Um, so folks, I'm a little down in the weather. Is that the right? Uh, so had
Under
my
the
shot
weather.
yesterday and I feel a little weird, so a little slow today.
It's
But I
called
got a
Under
nice
the
little
Weather,
problem for
actually.
you. What's that?
It's called Under the Weather.
Under the weather. Yeah. Could not remember. You get old and then you start calling your kids the dog's name. So, and then the dog, the kid's name. Anyway, I got a nice little puzzle for you to work on today. Has to do with, guess what? CSV and graphing. We'll look at the gold prices over the last some number of decades and plot that. Let me ask you, is anybody up for review? Anybody desirous of some review?
Yes.
Okay, lay it on me.
Oh, I did have two questions about the project, but I had to restart my computer, so I'm on my phone right now. So I wrote them down on my document, so I can't ask them right now, but I'll ask them later in class.
That's fine. That's fine. Anybody else?
I have a question. Is there no book chapter due tonight?
Is there no what?
Book chapter?
Not tonight, but if you'll note, I just assigned one for next week.
Okay, thank you. Just
Okay,
making
so-
sure.
Yep, that's good. So no book chapter due tonight. However, there is one due in a week, and that would be chapter 15. Okay, so I think I started to announce the contest. Does anybody remember anything about that? Did you get an email from me?
Yes, it had something to do with using data from your major.
Yep. So we'll have a contest. Judging will be on Thursday. Take some data from your own major and make a chart, and we'll vote. Each class will vote on who made the coolest chart. So look up strange new features of PyPlot. See if you can work them in, make a beautiful chart using data from your own major. And I'll give away one signed copy of my book per class. Okay, anybody want review?
I just
Anything
have
from
a
the
quick
book?
question.
Yeah.
For the contest, just use matplotlib to make a chart from your, okay, just checking.
Right. Right, and you could be the owner of a signed copy of Get Off My Lawn, a zombie novel all about computer science and pot. So there's no other zombie novel like this one, believe me.
Okay. My question is, what kind of data from our majors are we looking at or for?
I don't know, it's your major. You figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, now, sorry. I have uploaded a file, which I will go get a link to. And I'm going to put the link in the chat. Okay, so everybody could download the file that's in the chat and then upload it into Replit. Let's take a look at it. So I'm going to share my, okay, where's Replit? All right. And I'm going to download that file myself. Okay, and now I'm going to upload it to my own REPL. So 3 dots, upload file. And let's go to here. And here. Good. Okay, so I hope by now that everybody has gold.csv. And what this file shows is the price of gold in December of each year, price of gold per ounce. Okay, so what I'd like you to note is that it's a CSV file. It has 2 columns, namely there's 1 comma. So 2 columns. There are headings in the first row if you want to use them or ignore them. So what I want you to do is chart this. Make a line graph. Now, it's not as trivial as it might seem at first, because notice that whoever created this beautiful data encoded the month along with the year. So when you're working with axes on PyPlot, you need to have numbers. So remember that everything you read in from a CSV file is text. So it would be one thing to just have to convert the text into on the first column into an integer or the second column into a float. But you're also going to have to strip away the -12 before you can use the year. Okay? So go to it. You have a problem for class. And I'll show you what you're, while you're starting to think about it, I will demonstrate what the desired output should look something like. So you go ahead and start working. I'll go find the file. Huh, amazingly enough, Python's crashing for me. I wonder why. That will take some sleuthing. That's odd. Let me try it over here. Mhm. Okay, works fine over here. Let me show it over here. I can't find how to get back to Zoom, which suggests to me that it's a terrible, terrible interface. All right. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for. Okay, that's your goal. So please feel free to talk out loud, work with your colleagues. How about we discuss a plan? Maybe step one is to read the data at all. Not processing the data, but just reading it in, make sure we split them apart into 2 columns. Maybe that could be step one. Step two, put the data into appropriate lists. And then step three is to use those lists as the input to matplotlib and make the graph. Okay? So how would you write code to just read this file, not really processing the data, but splitting them apart into the 2 columns? Okay, write code, talk about it, yell and scream, dance. Nobody has anything to say? Or you're all finished? Maybe that's it. Are you all finished? Does somebody want to tell me what they've got? Please volunteer.
I imported matplotlib and the CSV libraries, and I've opened the gold.csv file and put it in a CSV reader so far.
Oh, that's pretty far along. Good job, Sydney. And is it working out?
So far,
Okay.
are we using the shell for this one again?
You don't have to. Let's see. There's nothing important about that. Let me see. Let me just finish what I was typing in here. And okay, so let me see, can I run that? What would I get? I have no idea what's happening. Sure. Well, okay. So yeah, this ran the wrong program. So I guess if you make a new REPL, you can do whatever you want. In my case, I would use the shell because when I hit run, I got some other program. So Python plot gold. And so I'll do it that way. If you can get it to work with the run, then that's fine too. But okay. Okay.
What does syst and argv mean again?
Those are your command line options. If you're going to use the shell, then go ahead and use command line options. If you're not using the shell, if you're using the run button, then go ahead and just hard code in the name of the file. All right, let's see what I got here. Okay, so my phase one is working. So step two will be, well, let's make a decision. What do you want to do with that first line? Do you want to just throw it away? Or would you like to use a dict reader and use the specify the columns by their names instead of numbers? Let's make a choice. Milo's going to choose for the rest of the class.
I'm going to what?
You're going to choose for the rest of the class, or for me actually. Do you want to make use of the first row, or do you want to throw it away?
Well, we have it. Why not use it?
Okay, then that sounds like a dict reader. So let's change that. Dict reader, I think. Yeah, let's run this again. Okay, so now we're getting dictionaries back instead of lists. All right. So remember that picture? I think year is on the x-axis. And what I want you to do, though, is how do you turn 1956-12 into the number 1956 and put that in a list? So, for example, you have years is a list. Whoops, forgot something. And prices will be a list. So your job now is to replace this line with code that will start working on the year. And when you've got something, let me know. Share it.
Professor, do you mind putting the thing in chat again? The
Or
document?
the file?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think I can do that. If I can find it. Let's see, what do I get when I do that? Yep, okay. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I think doing the price would be real straightforward. So how about that? Let's do that. Prices dot append row, and we're using a dict reader. So we specify price, but we're not quite done yet, are we? Because that would add a string to prices and we need numbers. So how do we convert this to a number?
Float and then parentheses.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so that takes care of assembling the prices. And what do we have to do with the dates?
Slice off the last part of it.
Let's see if we can get a little sophisticated about it. So years dot append, maybe we can do it all in one line, huh? So I know on the outside, I'm going to need an int. And then I got to do something with the row, and it would be date. But then what? You said, Kevin, a slice. You're on the right track. Can you tell me how to slice it?
Wouldn't it be the brackets and then a colon and then a -3, I think, is how much we
Yeah,
need?
I think you're right. I think you're right. So take everything from the beginning. The empty part before the colon says take it from the beginning. And that says stop 3 characters from the right-hand side. So we wrote a little, let's test a little. I'll just print years, and I'll also print, just for completeness, prices, and we'll see how we did. All right, this is looking pretty good. Here's a list that starts with 1950, and here is a list that has the prices. I think we're good. I think we're ready to start making a picture. Do you remember what to use for a basic plot of a line graph? The PLT dot plot. Then the x-axis is years, and the y-axis is prices. Let's just see how we did. PLT dot show. This won't have anything fancy on it. Let's take a look. All right. Oh boy. Got to make my window there. That's a little better. There. Okay. So that's good so far.
My graph isn't showing up.
All right. Is there anything that indicates what's going on? What might be going wrong?
No, there's no like error code or anything.
All right, let's How about try sharing your screen if you're willing?
Oh, wait. Okay, it's up now. I just reloaded the page.
Oh, I'm
Okay,
glad I could help you.
Connection thing, I think.
Yeah, as
Yep.
for me, my thing is just spinning forever. Is that what was
Mm-hmm.
happening to you?
Try reloading your page, Milo.
Okay.
Mine, as a matter of fact, is not showing a spinning loading screen.
Is it showing a graph?
No.
Wow, looks like everybody's having a
Yeah, neither
slow
is
start
mine.
to their week.
Pretty much.
Mine is no longer showing a spinning circle of death. It is now not showing anything. It's gray.
All right. You didn't like mess with me and minimize the window, did you?
Ew.
'Cause we don't know how to get it back. We don't know how to recover from that. Okay, so Milo, maybe show us your screen. You can debug this.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna try one last thing. I'm gonna try and Python run the program. Retype in the program. And it's not doing anything. Okay. Share the screen. Replit. That's the one.
Okay, that all looks good.
Mm-hmm. But this is gray.
Okay, and run the program again. But notice, oh, I see. You actually do have a problem in your code.
I do.
Yes, because
Oh.
my first clue was if the window was coming up, the prompt wouldn't return. But I noticed right away that the prompt did return. Therefore, the window never came up. So I looked, and line 15 has a bit of a problem.
I think you need parentheses after.
Yeah, do I need
Okay.
this?
Try that again.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay, now how about you, Colin?
Actually, before I do, let me try something real quick.
Sure.
Professor,
Okay.
what was the what keys did you hit to get the command line to return again? Or the prompt line?
Well, you mean to reload the page? Is that right?
Like after you run it and the plot shows up, the in-class work line, that disappears for me.
Let's see. So I'm going to close that window and need to make the transcript go away because it's hiding my screen. Okay, so Sydney, I'm not quite sure what you mean. You mean down here?
Yeah, so like what's in blue right there, when I like if I type that like the Python and then my program and the file name and run that, the plot will show up. But then that line in blue there is gone.
You
Is
have to
there-
exit out of the graph before it lets you type anything again.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so what do you say we make a little bit fancier plot, hey?
No, wait, actually, that thing didn't work.
That thing didn't work. Okay, Colin, can you show us your screen?
Yeah, have to. Can I shoot the? Oh, okay. I need to break the pacing somehow. All right.
Okay. So you've been getting this from the run command. All right, now with the run command, you don't get access to the command line arguments. So instead of using sys, I was mentioning that you should hard code the name of the file. So the quickest way to get you going would be to comment out or delete lines 24 through 26.
Could I
you
just
could-
do this to make life easier?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then on line 9, replace sys.argv1 with gold.csv inside single quotes.
Goal.
Okay, and try run. All right, let's investigate line 28.
There's no 28.
On line 27, you need to uncomment. Okay, try that.
Line 12.
Okay, does print have an append? Maybe you meant prices, not print?
Oh, wait, maybe. All right.
Okay, good. All right. Have you stopped sharing your screen?
Okay, thank you.
So can you add the title? So add a title and add a y-axis label and an x-axis label. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, now in our class, do we have any economics majors?
I am.
Like, yeah. When you look at the graph, things seem to be really stable, and then something changes. Anybody have any recollection of what might have happened in the 70s that caused gold to go berserk?
The California Gold Rush?
Well, maybe in the 1800s.
Well, F.
Let me just check my own facts.
That wouldn't be the Vietnam War, would it?
Oh, the Vietnam War definitely was going on at that point. Okay. Yeah, it is what I remembered. So right around here, which you can't see because I'm not sharing anything. So right around here, certain also impeached president made a change to US policy. Does that ring a bell for anybody? US fiscal policy? Okay, the president would be Nixon. So prior to the change in 1971, something like that, for every dollar in circulation, in money in circulation in the US, well, around the world, for every dollar, there was a dollar's worth of gold stuck in a reserve bank somewhere in the United States. And Nixon eliminated that requirement so that dollars don't have any real backing at all. They're just funny money. And that enabled gold to be priced whatever people were willing to pay. Because a dollar's worth of gold meant nothing anymore. So that's Nixon and the gold standard. Amazing what a president can do. Okay, so how you doing on title, y-axis label, and x-axis label?
I think I got it. I'm not totally
Okay.
sure.
Well, can you tell me what to type?
For the title, I did plt.title, and then I did put that in parentheses, and then did gold prices over the years. I wasn't really sure what to put.
Okay. All right, let's try that. I got to kill my window first. There. Okay, good, good. And then what'd you do for y-axis?
I did plt.y label, and then did and then put price in quotes.
Yeah, let's quick follow up with X label, I suppose. It's plt.x label.
Yeah, and I said years.
Okay, let's try that. All right. So I want to try something. Let's add, I want to add a vertical line right here, like 1971. So there's the price before and then the price after. So let's do, if I remember right, it's PLT dot AX. No, I don't remember right. Let me quick look it up from our iBook. There it is. This is part of your reading, 15.3. And the line I'm looking for is AXV line. Give it a year. All right, AXV line, 1971, and color equals gray. Let's try that. All right. Makes me like color. It looks like it didn't see the rest of the line that I wrote. Let's try it again. There. So now we've got kind of a before and an after. Okay. How about other things? Other things do you think that would be appropriate to add to this graph? And if we don't know how to do them, that's okay. We'll look it up. I wonder what would happen if we tried to limit the range of the y-axis. Let's say plt.y limit, let's say from 1,000 to 2,000. Wonder what that would do. Because in theory, that would eliminate everything under 1,000. So let's try that. Wonder what it does. Has no. Okay. I know that it does have something like that. Ah, okay. Well, what do you think? Is this a good graph? So is y lim, y limit. So notice that the data values are being ignored if they're below this 1,000. So this is how we can lie with statistics, right? Because by setting the graph, we can make it tell any story we want. Maybe the y limit is not such a good idea. Well, what about if we just maybe I want to see only a portion. How about from 2000 to 2020? Now it's the X limit that I have there. What would that do? Ah, so you see how I've zoomed in the graph to show only a portion of the data, and I didn't have to change the data. That's kind of handy. Can you think of something you might want to do to the graph? Remember, you're running your competition in a contest for coolest graph.
Could you change the like the years at the bottom at the x-axis to be like every year or something?
Yes, we could. Let's see, let me get rid of what I just added. And let's try to research that. So what might, since we don't know how to do that, well, on the bottom and on the side, there's like tick marks. I wonder if there's anything having to do with matplotlib and tick marks. So let's try here, matplotlib tick marks. And I spelled it wrong. Okay. Okay. Does this help? There definitely is something about tick marks. And this seems pretty, I think the answer, this seems pretty sophisticated, but the answer is going to be in here. And they're also using something called NumPy, which maybe this is a great opportunity to introduce NumPy. Let's see, go back here. And I'm going to go to my console. Get rid of that. So NumPy is a very, very sophisticated numerical package for Python. So import NumPy as NP. And you'll see that NumPy is very, very rich. There's a lot in it. And it makes working with Python and massively large amounts of numbers very straightforward. So for example, let's take something from the book that we had there. So np.arrange as an example. np.arrange, and we'll do from 0 to 1. And we'll do it in steps of, how about steps equals 0.01. Let's see what that produces. Whoops. What did I do? That was wrong. I'm confused. Oh, a range, not arrange. Okay. Then I got steps wrong. Oh, step. See, at least Python will tell you. And now what's in X? Now, this looks like a list, but notice it's got some extra stuff. So this has added NumPy has added a new data type to Python, which is more of a high performance, it's higher performance for math than a list. So let's do something magical. Then it gives you great capability. So something magical, let's say X, and let's see. Now I'm failing to remember. I told you I'm a little down in the weather, under the weather. So what I was trying to do, NumPy gives you this great syntax where you can select a whole range of values at one time. So for example, I'm trying to think of it though, X less than 0.5 equals 0. And now X, I remembered it. So take a look at this syntax here. And in one simple statement, I set any value that was less than 0.5 to 0 in one statement. So NumPy gives a very, very, very rich set of statistical and mathematical tools convenient for Python. But most importantly, it does it in a format that is high performance. So for example, Python working on a picture is fairly slow because Python, the way Python is designed. But if you express your picture as a NumPy array, then all of a sudden you can process pixels very, very quickly because NumPy has created a new data type that is very close to optimal performance when working with large amounts of numbers. Okay. So anyway, we did want to talk about how to do the tick marks. And so X ticks 0, 1, and 2. Okay. Let's try it. Where are we? We are here, and let's say X ticks. And that's a function with the first list of, let's just try the 0, 1, and 2. And then let's do another list of I'm just making stuff up. And wonder what that will do. Will it do anything? Okay, we'll have to do more research. It works over here. And they wouldn't lie to us. Okay, so how about questions about your assignment? The project that you have is something very similar to this, isn't it? Okay, perhaps instead of a plot, maybe it's a scatter. What would happen if we change this? Let's get rid of this ticks. That didn't quite work out. Let's try that as a scatter. Okay, so that's a little bit closer to what your project is going to be. Now, thinking about your project, do you have any questions?
Wait, how did you do that dot thing?
The dot thing?
Yeah, like how did you make the, instead of a line, make it a dot?
I changed from plot to scatter.
Oh, okay.
I had 2 questions about the project.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was working through it last night to see what I didn't know, and I was wondering how to make it, like when we specify a major, how do you make it to where it says all, when you say all, that it types in all the majors instead of just one?
Well, how would you make it just one?
For if that's when we did the elif, if the sys.argv was less than, oh no, for the desired major. So when you had sys.argv2, that would be the desired major, and then print that major, and it would fill in everything from that major. So
Right, but in your stu data file, you've got major way out here. And if you specify something other than all, then it's just going to be a comparison, right? So if you had entered MTH, then you'll ask to see an if statement that says, if the major is not the one you're looking for, skip it. Okay. Now, in the case of all, it's just another variation to your if statement.
okay.
So that's actually a feature logic that you're going to implement in the Python. Okay, other questions about the project?
Yeah, so in the GitHub definition of the project, you said that we had to split them up into the cohorts Oh wait, never mind. That's my own question.
Oh, good. And the cohorts are defined here, right?
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So where do you have anywhere listed like the latest version of the stew data? Because I know we fixed it. Do you know where the fixed version is?
Let's take a look at MediaFire. $1,100. And there's bad stew data, and here's stew data. I'm going to put that in the chat. Where's the chat? Don't like that it moves around. Okay, I hope that helps, Tori.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at the project. And where will we go to see that? GitHub. And here, and here. Okay, so let's look through this. If you have any questions, let me know. So when you look at this graph, you can tell that the data was synthetic because real humans wouldn't look like this. Okay, here's the specification for which cohort gets what color. Now, the hardest part of this project is in managing the data structure. So as you read through your file, you have to put together a multi-level dictionary. The highest level, the key is the cohort. And that's how you're going to separate out data that's only for freshmen, only for sophomores. And then below that, there's a dictionary, and the keys are X and Y. And the X values are the number of credits earned, that's integers, and the Y values have to be floats. That's GPA. So allow me to draw a picture of the full data structure. And they've decided to just go ahead and reset things on me without my permission. Another crappy feature. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right. So the top level has a key like freshman, and then that has a key X and has a key Y, and those are lists. So this is what your data structure is going to look like. So the X is the number of credits earned. So let's say 90 credits. Oh, that's way too much for a freshman. So I shouldn't have done that. But then corresponding to that person who has the 90 credits, they have a GPA of 3.66. So this, by virtue of them being in the same place within both lists, that makes one person's data. Any questions about the data structure? So how would you get the GPAs for the sophomores? So if the top level was called data, it would be, I want GPAs for sophomores. Okay, that will give me a list, which is the GPA values of the sophomores.
So are we embedding lists into a dictionary under the year they are?
Yeah. So that's exactly what you're doing. So you've got over here, you've got a list embedded inside a dictionary, embedded inside a dictionary. But when you look at it like this, it's really quite straightforward to understand. So here's all of my data. Here's the data that is just sophomores. And Y for Y-axis, those are the GPAs. Okay, any questions?
For the
Anybody?
different, I have a quick question. For the different
Yeah.
colors, did you ever go over how to change the colors? Or I don't really remember.
We did. Let's take a look, and do a little review on that. So you share, go back here, go here. All right, and let's get that. Can't see anything. Let's go back to clock gold. And let's go back to scatter. When you create the scatter plot, you can, so imagine this is just freshmen. You could say color equals sea green. Let's try that. Okay, so if this was just the freshman data, the freshman would be drawn in sea green. Now, you
Okay.
can also, if you give a list for color that is the same size as the x-axis, then you could specify color per dot. But in our case, you don't need to do that because you'll draw separate scatter plots that will be combined by matplotlib, but you can draw a separate plot for freshmen, for sophomore, for juniors and seniors. So you only need to specify one color each. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and that program is due when?
Thursday.
Take a look. It's due on Thursday. Let's see. Due on Tuesday, March 23rd. Okay, anybody have any questions? This was just, practice for your project.
I kind of had a question about the thing you were going over with the lists and the dictionaries.
Mm-hmm.
So X and Y, are there going to be 4 basically X and Y's for each level, or is there just going to be one list for X and one list for Y?
Well, within one cohort, there's one list of X and one list of Y, and there are 4 cohorts.
Okay.
So the goal here is that all of the values, the idea is that all of the values in one list If it's the X, it's only the number of credits for the freshman. And there'll be something similar for .so and .jr. There'll be an, maybe if I drew the entire data structure, let me come up with a different way of representing the entire data structure. So this is the name of the variable.
We can't see that.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Let's see, new share and, okay. So if this is your entire data structure, there's FF as a key and SO as a key and JR is a key and SR is a key. And then each of these will get you to an X and a Y, and each of those gets you to a list. So I'll draw out another one. So you can see at the top level, the keys are FF, SO, JR, and SR. And so that would be data, SO. And data SO would lead to a picture that looks like this. So I'll just appropriate that picture. Data SO leads to a dictionary that has two keys, an X and a Y. And each of those keys has a list. So this would be the values and the values. Does that help, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it does.
Now, I called it X and Y so that you could scatter based upon the data freshman and then X. See, there's how you would, so it's PLT, there's how you would create the scatter plot of just the freshman. Of course, there's more here. But you could use these keys. You're using the keys to segregate the data based upon the cohort. Okay. Any remaining questions? Okay, how about another quick look at the code that we wrote today, in case anybody needs to grab this. Any questions about this code? Maybe I might want to make a change. I'm going to move the exception, and then we'll discuss why. Move the exception to there, and then okay, the reason why I just made this change is that the exception that I'm catching has to do with not finding the file. And by the time I get through here, I'm finished with the file. So there's no reason to put all of these statements underneath that exception, that try. Because if we get to here, to line 18, the circumstances in which the exception might occur can't occur anymore. We're done with the file. There are two benefits of doing what I just did. One is these lines aren't as indented and it's just easier to look at. But the second is that I've moved the potential handling of an error closer to where the error might take place. And that just helps you understand your code. And since I changed this, I really should try it. And I've been disconnected, so I got to type it in again. Good, it still works. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we'll end for today. And I'm looking forward to a competition on Thursday for most creative best graph from something from your major. Believe me, you know this is the prize in this is it's like getting a Nobel Prize, right? Because very few people on the planet have this book, so you'll be one of a very small club. Okay. All right. So we'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.